Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 151 of Build Your Stash and Craft. As you can see, I have a lot of lovely things here. I think that this is all just so pretty. As I was putting it all on the table, it's like, oh, I love it. Today we are going to make book dangles, bookmark book dangles for our journals. And I saw Treasure Books do this a long time ago, and I did finally find the video because I thought I had saved it and I didn't, but I did find the video, so I'll try and remember to link that below. But that's Treasure Books, and she made these, and I just thought they were so cool because you can use them as a bookmark, move them around your book wherever you want to. You have a dangle on your book. It's easy to take the dangle off of your book or out of your book and get it out of your way. So I just think that they're great. So what we got this week was we went ahead and we got the fan, and then all the rest of this here is just things that we already have purchased for our stash. We have some embroidery floss, some sequins, some of our fibers, seed beads. I have some dyed ribbon, some of our fishing line. I have the needles, which I don't think I'm going to use, but I have them. I have our wires. I even grabbed some feathers because I thought that might even be cool, and some of our heavy-duty glue. So I'm going to kind of move some of this. And then the other thing that we got last week, besides our fan, was we bought some beads. Now, however you bought those, whether it was you bought packages at Walmart, or whether you got them as necklaces and tore them apart. I went ahead and I got necklaces and I tore them apart. And I'm going to show you what I got out of those because I was actually quite surprised. I made myself a book to hold them in. And I do have a tutorial on how to make this book in the series. But the necklaces that I showed you that I had purchased at the Salvation Army, this is what they came out to be. I have all of these beads in all of these different colors. I have chain. I have little metal bits. I have bead caps. I have the ends of the necklaces, so if I wanted to make something and hook it together, but you can also use those types of things for your dangles. And the clips you can use to clip dangles. All different types of little like charmy type things. And all of this came off of the necklaces that I had purchased. And then what I did was I just made the book and just made my sections as I tore my necklaces apart so I could get all of my beads in one section, just because I'm like that. But you don't really have to do it that way. But yeah, and this works really good. I love the way that these look just stacked up. On your desk, you can stack them up. You can put a little label on them as to what's inside. But I like the way that they look just as a book. And then you can put some kind of closure. I usually just put a rubber band around them. So, but these are all of the beads that I got with my necklaces. And so I'm going to just set these right over here. I already started to string some onto a piece of fishing line, and all I did was I took a long piece of fishing line and then I put one seed bead on it and then put the seed bead right in the middle and folded it in half. So I actually have two pieces here. It's the one piece folded in half at the bottom. I'm no good at tying fishing line, and so I wanted to make sure it stayed together. So this way, by putting a little seed bead on the bottom and then pulling the two pieces together and making them even, I know that it can't go anywhere because I have both ends here and I'm not tying any kind of a knot in it as of yet. So, and then I just strung on, kind of like a bead cap, I put a sequin and then a bead and a sequin, and then I put two little shell beads and then another sequin and a bead and a sequin. And I think I'm going to repeat that. Well, not necessarily that pattern, because I'm going to put two more shells now and then one more bead on the top. Excuse me. And so in the way I did these, let's see, I did the big part towards the bottom. So I want to match it. And these little shells, they came on one of the necklaces. So I'm just going to string that on there. I got one piece through, but not the other. So I need to get both pieces through there. And there we go. So I figured I would do some of it before I got here because it's, you know, beading sometimes can take a while, and there's no point in rushing it. You're supposed to just enjoy what you're doing. So don't worry about how long it takes you. Now going this way through these little shells I find a little bit hard. I'm going to do it one half of the fishing line at a time. There we go, I got that one. Did I get it? There we go, got it. That's why I didn't do the whole thing on here. The other two took me longer. So that's what we have so far. So then I'm going to put a sequin, and then I'm going to put a bead and another sequin, and then I think I'm going to have that dangle bit finished. I think that's as much as I want on it. And I could go all the way up the string, make it the full length of my book, and I'm making this dangle to go with my my journal for journaling on a budget. So that one's getting just about done, so it's about time for it to have a dangle. And the nice thing is this will not be hooked on. Just trying to get both of those pieces through my sequin. It won't be hooked on, so even while I'm still working on it, I can take it in and off without having a problem. Okay, I'm going to put these sequins away, except for one, so that I don't spill them. And keep that one right there and get one of our blue beads. And just string that on our double fish line. I'm still not exactly sure how I'm going to hook it on at the top, but that's part of the reason that I got the really heavy glue, because however I put it on there, I'm going to put some heavy glue on the knot. I've never been real great at knots. When my daughter used to ride horses, we had to braid the horse's mane from the pole down to the withers, from the top of the head to the shoulders. And you had to braid it, and then you had to tie it with a yarn and do a square knot. Oh, I had such a hard time with that. So there we go. Now there's that dangle, and I think that looks really pretty. I like that. So, and like I said, I could go even higher, but I'm going to leave this like this and just set it aside for now. And then we're going to take our fan apart. So what we're going to use is this little stick part is what's going to be in our book. So the first thing that we need to do is remove this thing that holds our fan all together, and it has a pin that goes all the way through. And I haven't done this before, so I'm just going to see how it works. I should have actually brought my pliers out here. There we go. That wasn't so bad. It has like a little cover on it, so I need to get that off. I have my wire cutters here. I'm not actually trying to cut it, I'm just trying to get a hold of it to pull it off. And there we go. So now we have that off. Put that somewhere where it's not going to get on the floor, because Papa's little dog loves to chew on little bits of metal. And then we're just going to remove that. Now we also have this dangle here, which would match my book, and I might even put that on there. And then you have this piece here, which has some really nice embossing on it. And so save that, because that would work really good for something. I'm not sure what right now, but you know, everything works for something. And then what we're going to do is we are just going to take one of these little blades, and we're just going to remove it from the fabric. Now the other thing that you have here is this gorgeous, by the time you take all of those off, you're going to have that beautiful piece of fabric. So, you know, you can do something with that also. This is one of those projects that just keeps on giving. I'm going to, it's a little bit rough here at the end, so I'm just going to Nip that off. There we go. And so this is what we have. And it has the hole right here. That's where we're going to put our dangle. Now I bought both of my wires. I bought the one that we did for the knocker brads, and I'm not so sure if this will fit through there or not, but if it would, I think it would look pretty as my jump ring. So let's see if it'll fit through that hole. Yeah, it does fit through that hole, and it moves nicely. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around something, and I want it to be, excuse me, I want it to be of decent size, so I just have this marker here, and I'm just going to wrap it around that marker. I'm going to make it pass itself so that I can really get that pulled tightly and hopefully have a nice round piece. Now in order to get it off, you have to take the lid off. There we go. So now we have this really nice jump ring. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to nip it on a little bit of an angle here. Now I'm nipping the whole big piece. So I'm going to hold the ring. There we go. And now we've got this little bit of leftover. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to nip it at the same angle, but remember to hold on to that little piece. You don't want it to go flying. And there we go. Now it looks like that, and so now it will just move right back together. You never pull a jump ring apart. You'll never get it round again. Always, whenever, any size jump ring, whenever you're going to open it or close it, always just pull it sideways and then push it back together. So there's our jump ring. And I'll go ahead and put that extra little bit down there. Put the jump ring on here. And just kind of see if it, yeah, it moves around very nicely. So this is what we're going to tie all of our fibers and everything to. And then we'll put it on there and it will be done. So then we just have to decide, what do we want to put on there? Now one thing, this is my book for, if you haven't watched the Journaling on a Budget series, this is the book that we're making for Journaling on a Budget. So it has these purples and a little bit of pink and the blues there. And so those are the colors I kind of wanted to stick to. And so I had this fibers. And so I want to put some of these on there. I thought maybe like 2 lengths of this. And so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to grab my book just for another second, and I'm just going to measure from the bottom of my book, and I'm going to make it a little longer than that will look. It really wants to be on there. I'm going to go from the bottom of my book to the top of my book, and so that is, now I have the length of my book here, and so I'm going to go just a little bit longer, fold it in half, and I'm going to cut it right there. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is just line that back up again. I'm going to do another one. So come up to the top, fold it in half, go back down to the bottom, and nip it right there. Okay, so now we have 2 pieces like this that are folded at the top, and I'm just going to put that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, for now, I'm going to close my jump ring because I don't want things to slip off of it as I'm putting them on. So I'm just going to put the loopy part, the folded over part that was at the top, and with these fibers sometimes you know, everything kind of gets lost, but so there's the loop, or the place where it was folded, and I'm just going to pull the tails through and then pull it down. And there we go. And then I'm going to do this one. I'm going to put the loop through our jump ring. So there's our loop, and then we're going to take the 2 tails that are on this side of our jump ring, grab them and pull them through. And there we go, and then just give that a little tighten. I tightened it up right where I put the jump ring together. So with all those little fibers, it wanted to get stuck in that gap. So there, oops. Then I pulled it off. Okay, so let's do it again. Put the little loop through the jump ring, like that. Grab the tails, pull them through, and then don't tighten it on the little gap part. So there we go. There's the start of it right there. And then we have the bead dangles. Whoops, if I can't even get a hold of it. There we go. And we have the bead dangles to put on there. See, I think that looks pretty. I don't think that those need to go all the way to the bottom or even hang, way down. So now I have to figure out, I'm gonna separate these a little bit because I want this to be between them, tied between them. They're gonna dangle all over the place, but I have to figure out how I want to tie it now. One thing I do know, I'm gonna put the part that's together of our jump ring, the little split of the jump ring, at the top, because I definitely don't want to tie it there. I think I'm going to take the two of them, put them through the loop. Ooh, this is going to be fun with all those fibers on there. Maybe I should have done this part first. So if you're working with the fishing line, which you can't see, and fibers, which wind up all over the place, do the fishing line first. Let me just get it to a point and poke it through there. There it is. Okay. So I'm going to go like that. And I don't mind if it hangs down a little bit. So I don't want to, and I don't want to pull it up super, super tight, because if you pull it super tight, it won't dangle as much. So you want at least just a little tiny bit of a gap. Okay, and then I am just going to wrap it around, and I'm just tying a knot. With it being fishing line and having all the fibers in the way and everything, I know it's probably hard to see, but even if the fibers weren't in the way, it's hard to see the fishing line. Just kind of making a loop, putting my tails through the loop. I'm going to hold my finger in that loop for a second and kind of pull to pull up my dangle a little bit before that knot gets tight. And I'm probably within about a ½ inch, so that's where I'm going to tie it. So there it is. I've got about a finger length between the top of the bead and there, and to me that seems like a good, yeah, that seems like a good amount. So, and then I'm just going to do that again. Tie another knot in here. And the thing with having the jump ring is you don't have to figure out how to tie it onto the bookmark part, because your jump ring is just going to fit through there. And your dangle, once you put everything on your jump ring and put your jump ring on there, you're done. Okay, now I'm getting my fibers all caught up again. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty tight, I hope, because fishing line, oh, I know one other thing I'm going to do. I'm going to separate these two pieces. Fishing line to me just doesn't tie well. I'm sure that, I know there has to be a way to tie it because, okay, so I split them apart. I'm going to put one through the ring and leave one on the outside of the ring and then tie them together. You know, I mean, fishermen make knots all the time, so if you know a fisherman, or I suppose you could look it up on YouTube too, how to tie a knot in fishing line. So there, that one went through the loop, and then I'm going to tie that again and again. And I think if you tied it in a square knot, that would hold it. I'm not positive. Okay, so there we go. Now, for right this second, I am not going to cut those off, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of our super glue right on that knot. But I'm not going to do that till I'm done doing all the rest, anything that I want to do with it, because I don't want everything sticking to that super glue. I want to be able to lay it down when I'm done. So there we've got those. And we've got our dangle. And then I have some dyed fabric here. Maybe it's under my book, because I know I had it here. I had some blue and purple dyed fabric. Oh, there it is. It was in with our... And I had tried to make some... on some tags, I put this fabric on there as... Okay. Got that on there. Somehow this piece right here, I don't know if it has something to do with the whatever, but somehow it got undone. So I need to get my loop, put it through the jump ring, and of course, you know, you probably won't have anywhere near as many problems as I'm having. This is supposed to be quite a simple one. Okay, get away from the... There we go. I'm going to stay away from that split where the jump ring comes together. So there we go with that. And then I didn't know if I wanted to maybe put a piece of this on here. I'd cut it to put on some tags, but it looked awful. So I had to take it off. But I like it with the book. Do I want it to be maybe short? I wonder if I can rip it one more time. I would really like it to be a little thinner than this even. Give it a little cut and we'll see. It worked. Yay. And I love it when you rip things, it kind of makes it a little bit curly. Just going to remove the extra threads. Not like we don't have a bunch of them already. And then decide, do I want to tie a knot at the top, or do I want to This is where I always wish that you guys could answer me. Should I make it half the length or the full length? I think the full length. I think half the length would look a little bit funny. And so I can either tie each one of these around the loop, or I could tie them together and then hoop it through like we did the fibers. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Put a little knot in there. I want to leave kind of like some little bunny ears to see if they look cute sticking up the top, and if they don't, I can always cut them off. So there we go. We have a really nice tight knot, and we've got these little extra bits sticking up. And now I'm going to put it between the fibers. Grab the tails, bring them through the loop. And there we go. So that's what we have so far. Let's see. And then, what else do we want? I have some purple fibers that would look nice. We could do another dangle. We could do a piece of chain. We could put this on here too. I am going to do that. Okay, so I've got fibers and then the fabric, and then the beads, and then these fibers. I think I'm going to put the fabric in the middle, So I'll have fibers dangle, I'll have fibers dangle, fabric dangle, fibers. It just doesn't even want to move over. Okay, so that's there. And this one's just like so ready to go. It's already got a loop and everything. We're just going to pull those through there. And there we go. It's so hard to really show a dangle when you can't show it standing up and down, because that's really how they get looked at. So that's what we have so far, and I think that's looking pretty good. We could put a chain with a couple of charms on it. I have some chain that was left, you know, that I got from tearing things apart. Yeah, I think that's just what it needs. And then, let's see, what type of charmy things do we have here? Oh, these are pretty. These are just little, the whole necklace was put together like this, and so I just opened up one side. See, these have a circle on each end. I just opened up one side of the circle, slipped off the other one, and then closed it back up again so that these didn't want to slide off. But if this will fit on here, I think a few of these going down this chain would be really pretty. And I did not bring my pliers. Why didn't I bring my pliers? I should have. I'll open that jump ring up. See if that will fit through the chain. And this is not the smartest thing to do, is to use your nippers, but I'm not pressing hard. I'm just basically using it just to move it. Because if you press hard, you're going to just cut your wire. So that looks cute on there. So I think I'm going to put one at the bottom and maybe one up here. What do we want? We also have some pink kind of pearly ones. There's some smaller pink pearly ones. Let's do one of those and one of those, and then we'll put the crystal one at the bottom. I like the crystal ones better. So I'm just going to open up that jump ring. And you can count your loops and everything to make sure that you've got the same number of loops between them. Depending on what I'm making, there are times where I do actually do that, but something like this, where the whole thing is all kind of mixed in together, to me, you're not going to really need that. Let me see. I think that I'm just going to not do two of the pearls. I think just one. Put this crystal at the bottom. And now these have a loop on both ends, so if you want to put something on the other end of each of the beads, you can do that. Or if you want to put a couple beads together and let them hang down. And let's see, I did get some kind of charmy things here. These are really pretty little black. These are shells. And so I think I'm going to hang that off of the one that's on the very bottom, because I don't like to have a loop hanging out there at the bottom without something on it. It doesn't bother me if they're up here in the middle, but that last one I feel like it should have like something to complete it. So then we're going to just take this. And hang it up there like that. And I want to make sure, before I hook that on there, that it's not too long, because I can trim the fibers, but I can't trim the dangle. Well, I could go back and take it off and trim it up. So it is too long. So I'm going to see. I'm going to shorten it right to about there. There we go. All right, so I only need it to be this long. Okay, and this is what I'm going to do, if I can. I don't know how easily these jump rings open. I'm going to open up this jump ring, and I've lost my place as far as how long it needs to be. I'm trying to find the opening. These are the type of jump rings that have like a twist in them, and I almost think that they feel like they're like soldered or glued right where the little opening is. I did kind of nip that, but I nipped it right where the opening was. Okay. I need 2 pairs of pliers to open that up because this is really nice, strong chain. So I'm going to stop here for a second and come back so that this doesn't get too long. I'm going to grab my pliers and we're going to put this on. And so I'll be right back. Okay, I am back and I got my pliers. Better put my glasses back on so I can see. Okay, so I'm going to grab that jump ring and use 2 pairs of pliers. And then just twist them away from each other. Now what I was kind of hoping was that jump ring would fit through here, and I would be able to close it to make a loop. But that jump ring is too small to do that. So that did not do what I was hoping it would do. And now I need to get it off of there, or close it back up. I can just close it back up. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to just grab a jump ring off of something that's already in here that's big enough. See, my jump rings I think I put over here. There we go. There's a jump ring. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my chain and I'm going to put it around our jump ring. I'm going to bring it down quite a ways because remember we had to shorten up our chain. And then I'm just going to take this jump ring and put it through here. If I can, I'm going to put it through each side to just hold them together. I don't think I can do it with my big fiddly fingers, but let's see. Okay, go through that side and go through this side, and it doesn't matter so long as you're around the jump ring. Get this back over here. It doesn't matter what loop you go through. I'm not going to make sure I get to the bottom one. If I go through one that's part way down, then that just leaves a little bit of chain dangling down, and it looks kind of cute that way. It gives you one little more dangle. Okay, I got it through both sides. Now I can get it together. Let's see here. Get a hold of this. Make sure I've got both sides, and I do. And make sure you go through a loop, not just around the chain. Because if you just go around the chain, the chain will move. get a hold of this jump ring, twist it back together. Now this jump ring actually got separated kind of in an ovalish shape, and it's not meeting itself, so I'm going to have to squish it together. And there we go. Okay, so now we've got that on there. And then I thought I really wanted some ribbon. I didn't have any ribbon on here. And how somehow I've got all of these all on one side. Okay, well, you know, I'm just one of those people that, oh, and you know what, a lot of people fold all of their things in half and then they put it all through there at once to put it on their jump ring. So that might have been a smarter thing to do, since I didn't start that way. And I grabbed my ribbon box from ribbons that we had purchased before, and just grabbed some colors that I thought would go nice with my book. And so I'm going to put those on the same way. I don't know how I'm doing that. Let's fold it in half. Put it through. Grab both tails and pull them through. So I got some turquoise and some purple and a piece of lace, which I'm not so sure if I might think the lace is a little too wide. Through. I'll tell you what, this slit in the jump ring is just absolutely causing me so many fits. But you'll know now all the different things to do and not to do. Like, put them all together and put it through there one time instead of doing this over and over. There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay. So, obviously this is really not my thing, making dangles. I don't do them very often. I'm not a jewelry maker, although I do like to play with like beads and fibers, but not doing well with this one. Yeah, at least we are almost at the end. And how this keeps happening, I have no idea. I'm sure you're probably sitting there watching me do this going, you know, you're doing that all wrong. So there we go. And this piece of lace is awfully wide, especially with the size of everything else there. So I think I'm just going to trim it down the middle. Maybe, if I had a pair of scissors that would. And put it on in two pieces. Because it's a dangle and it's supposed to be fluffy and everything, it's okay that the edges of the lace will be fluffy. Because that's kind of what we're going for on a dangle. At least this type. To me, this looks very bohemian. When I had everything set out earlier, that was the first thing I thought of. Okay. All right, so you know what I'm doing here. I'm going to finish cutting this. I'm going to go get a pair of decent scissors, finish cutting this in half and putting it on there. And then I will come back and show you what the finished product looks like and let you know what we're going to need for next week. So I'll be back in just a second. Okay, I'm back and I laid it out so you could see what it looked like. And I just went ahead and I cut the lace in half. So half of it looks like that and half of it looks like that, but it looks much better being thinner than how thick it was. So I like the way that that turned out. And then the last thing we need to do is just, well, two last things. We need to open up our jump ring and just slide it into our hole. And while I was away, I did glue I did glue my my fishing line with the heavy duty glue. So it's bath day for Papa, so I had to be gone for a while anyway, so I threw some glue on there and let it dry for a while. Just kept everything out of the way. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the jump ring right there where it comes together to hopefully hold that together easier so that it doesn't split, because we don't want it to split and let everything fall off. Now, you know, you don't have to do that, but I just think that that would be a good thing to do. So I'm just going to do like that. Oops. There we go, and I'll let that dry, and then after it dries a little bit, I'll kind of push it down a little bit. And then here is our jump ring. I'm going to leave the split in the back. I don't want to glue it to my plastic thing because I want it to be able to move all around freely. I'm going to kind of put that in the back. And there we go. There is our beautiful tassel bookmark. And so how easy is that to just take it and just put it in your book anywhere that you want it. You can leave it stick way out like this so that you see all of this beautiful gold on there, or you can slide it down. Comes right over the edge of your book, and it looks really cool. And how easy is that to just grab a hold of it and take it out when it's in the way, but just put it back in there. You know, when you've got your book up on the shelf or whatever, you can even take it with this type of a book that has this kind of a spine, and you could even put it in there. And then it's not in your way at all. So I really like the way that those turn out. I just love the idea of having these bookmarks that you can put in your book. You know, if you're halfway through working on it, you slide this into where you are, and when you go back the next time, you can open it right up to where you're working. And I just think that that is really just a very cool idea. So thank you, Treasure Books. I really do appreciate you showing these because I think they're great. And that's Papa calling. So I'm going to show you really quickly what we need for next week. We are going to need, these are Miracle Cleaning Sponges. These are, you can get them at the Dollar Tree. I was at Walmart, so I got them there. But go ahead and get them at the Dollar Tree. They're just those magic sponges, like the Mr. Clean sponges. And you need this type of sponge. So we're going to get a 2-pack of the sponges. And then we are going, if you have pipettes, that works great. I couldn't get pipettes anywhere. So I got some eyedroppers. They were $1.75 a package. So we have $3.50 here. And if you get these at Walmart, they were $1.50. So you've got $5 here. Or if you get them at Dollar Tree, it's a little bit cheaper. So, but that's what we're going to need for next week. We're going to need like 4 eyedroppers. You could use 2. 4 would be better. So go ahead and get 4 eyedroppers, and then get a couple of the magic sponges, the Mr. Clean eraser type sponges. And those are just those dense white ones. So that's what we'll need for next week. So we're going to spend $5 for next week. And we had $83 in our budget. Yep. So that'll leave us with $83 in our budget. And that's it for this week. Thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. I hope that you like this tutorial, even though it was just full of a bunch of losing things and whatever. But, you know, that's sometimes just the way that crafting goes. Thanks again for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.